Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the MJX Bugs 6, and if you saw my Bugs 8 video about a week or two ago, you're probably scratching your head wondering, well, what's the deal with this? It looks the same. And in fact, the way I'm showing it here, it is exactly the same with the exception of the canopy. And here is the Bugs 8 here. You can see it has a different canopy. Everything else is the same. The way that the Bugs 6 is sold is different from the Bugs 8. The Bugs 8 is sold by MJX directly, and it comes complete with everything. The Bugs 6 is sold by Banggood, and it's also sold on Amazon and also on GearBest, and they sell it in 4 different modular units. So you can get the drone by itself with the transmitter and the battery. That's one option. The second option is the drone, the transmitter, battery, and the camera unit. In the camera unit, I'll explain a little bit in a second. You can get those 3 plus the screen, or you can get as a fourth option everything, which is the screen, the goggles, the drone, transmitter, battery, and the camera unit. The camera unit is the same on both the Bugs 6 and Bugs 8. It's called the C5830. And on the Bug 6, it doesn't come installed. It comes, you actually have to install it yourself. It's fairly easy to do. You just pop off the top here, and this is the actual module itself. It's a 5.8 gigahertz FPV transmitter. Only one band, I think it's Bosscam A, I believe. The C band, and it's 500 milliwatts for the FPV transmission. Plus it has a built-in DVR, so it records in 720p. You have to put in a micro SD card in here, and it needs to be, I think, a class 10 micro SD card. I tried a class 6 and it didn't work. But it does record in 720p directly from the camera to the DVR on board, and you can initiate the recordings from the transmitter. And I think I mentioned that the transmitter itself is 500 milliwatts. It's a very powerful transmitter. You got a standard, pretty narrow field view CMOS camera here, and you'll see the video of that in a minute. Now, as mentioned before, you have to install this camera unit. It just comes like this with the antenna. There's one little cable you have to plug in here for power and video. That's a little 3-pin connector right there, and then you got to screw in 3 screws, and then it comes with the screws, and that's it. That's very, very simple. It took me literally like 2 minutes to put it in. Now, if you get the top of the line option, you'll get the screen with the goggles, and this is just basically a box, plastic box with a Fresnel lens there. There's no adjusters, there's no buttons on here. Everything electronically is within this FPV monitor. It will receive, I think, 4 bands, the A band, the C band, and the F band, and I think the E band as well. Even though the transmitter only transmits on the C band. There's no external antenna, so range isn't all that great, but I didn't feel like it had too many issues in terms of reception. And to put these into the goggles, you just slide them in to the top here, close it, and then you'll be able to view the picture through the screen there. It's just like a lot of typical box goggles. It goes on the back of your the strap goes to the back of your head, and fits pretty good. It's got some soft foam there with a little bit of cloth covering. No complaints about it. The screen image was fine. It's 4.3 inches bright. No issues in terms of the screen. I like the screen. The transmitter itself here, typical toy transmitter. You got your button here for high-low rates. The red button here is for arming, disarming, and is also for binding, which you'll need to do because it's not bound from the factory. To bind it, you power up your drone, and then while holding the red button down, you turn on the transmitter, and then it will bind. It happens automatically. It just makes 2 beeps and you're bound. And then the next time you turn on the transmitter, it'll be automatically bound. And then to arm, you short press the red button, and to disarm, you long press the red button. And then over here, you have your flip button. You have to press and hold the button while moving the right stick. It's kind of hard to do. I wish that they could just press the button and then initiate the move on the stick, but I guess it's a different way of doing it. And then there's a little camera button here is for the camera on the unit, and you can remotely start and stop your video. You can take a picture by short pressing the button, and by long pressing the button it will start and stop video, and it'll make a beeps to let you know that the video is recording. On the back it just takes 4 AA batteries for power. So the battery it comes with is proprietary, comes in the plastic case here, and it's a 1300 milliamp hour 2-cell, and it comes with an XT30 connector and a balance lead, and it does come with a charger. I don't have this in the showing here in the video, but it does come with a charger as well, and it just slides into the bottom of the drone here. So if you guys want more details on all these components, I did go over them in a little bit more detail on the bench in the Bugs 8 video, and I'll put a card in the corner here if you want to check that video out. At this point I'm going to go ahead and fly it FPV. In the other Bugs 8 video I did a line of sight flight, and if you want to see line of sight footage you can go to that video as well, card in the corner. But I'll go ahead and I'll fly this FPV with the goggles this time. I think in that video I only flew it with a little adapter that goes on top of the transmitter and the little sunshade. That was actually kind of hard to see the screen that way, so I'm going to use the goggles this time, and obviously record the HD or 720p video, and also I'm going to record the FPV feed this time as well on my Eachine EV800D goggles, and then so I'll have both of those on the flight video that's going to be coming up next. So here's the flight demo. The main video here is going to be the 720p video recording from the Bugs 6 directly. The onboard SD card, and the upper right is going to be the FPV feed that I recorded on my Eachine EV800 goggles. The FPV feed on the goggles seemed to be a little bit better than what I saw on the screen that came with the Bugs 6, because the EV800s come with an external antenna, whereas the screen that comes with the Bugs 6 does not. But it really wasn't that noticeable. It didn't affect me in terms of what I was doing in terms of my ability to fly it. The transmitter is transmitting at 500 milliwatts, so I think that the FPV range, the video transmission range, is going to be further than the control range of the radio. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the FPV video. With regards to the camera image itself, it's about what I expected. It's not high quality video. The camera they're using here is obviously CMOS, and it struggles with the changing lighting conditions, whether you're going towards the sun or away from the sun, so you get some pretty stark changes in the lighting. You can see that when I change directions and go back here, the video just goes sometimes pretty dark, and the colors get kind of wacky as well. That being said, this whole thing costs $150, and actually, considering the cost, I think the quality of the video is not that bad for what you get, especially if they're targeting a certain kind of a pilot here, someone who's probably flown a few toy quads before and wants to experience FPV. This is definitely not a bad way to go. I do like the fact that it's just it's a very low cost system and a good way for someone to try it out. Now granted, in terms of the flying capabilities of this, it's controllable to a degree. I didn't have any trouble flying it. It was extremely windy this day, so it was kind of bobbing around and stuff. However, if you're looking for a real racing drone, this definitely is not it, because obviously you can't program the flight controller, and this is flying in self-level mode and not acro. And for someone who has already flown a real racing drone like myself, I would obviously never get this. I don't think this is the audience that they're targeting anyway. It's someone who's never flown FPV before, never flown a racing drone before. They've flown some toy quads and they want to sort of take the next step and see what it's like. This is probably a good way to see what this is like in terms of feeling what FPV is like without spending $1,000, which if you want to fly a real racing drone, that's pretty much what you gotta spend. And even in these really windy conditions, I'm still able to fly it around. I'm not really doing a whole lot here because I want to kind of stay away from the park there, which over on the left. A bunch of kids are playing on the playground, so trying to keep it safe. And just, going back and forth, seeing how it flies fine, even in these windy conditions. And the wind is kind of bobbing it around a bit, but that's to be totally expected. But I feel that for a pilot that has flown some toy drones before, this is probably a pretty good step. It's very docile, not that fast, pretty easy to control, and if you get into some sort of tricky situations, I think that it's got enough power to get out of them, while at the same time not having too much power. Anyway, guys, that's going to conclude my review of the Bug 6. Again, as I mentioned before, if you're someone that's already flown a racing drone before, this is obviously and definitely not for you. However, if you've flown some toy drones before and kind of interested in the FPV, sort of like what's going on with it and how does it work and how does it feel, I would check this out. It's not a bad way to go, and it's a very little cost in terms of cash out of your pocket in case you don't like it and you're not throwing a whole lot of money away. Put a link in the description if you guys want to check it out, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.